If my eye looks funny, it's it's because I have a serious eye problem and I have to go back to the hospital tomorrow. Yeah, so I've got like 50% vision in this eye.
Have the pain, that hurts. And if we say, okay, my life is painful, so I hate my life. Ooh. Ooh. Now I have two negatives. Because I have the pain negative, and now I have the I hate my life negative.
I'm a teacher at Boyne High School. I'm the foreign teacher here. In recent years, I've been teaching the Doksa reading class, so we've kind of gotten creative about how to use English readings for that class. And I've been here for about 8 years now.
That was the important thing. He has a job problem, a career problem, don't give up. Don't say, I hate my life. I'm going to the Mapo Bridge.
Andrew Ray Pike. American style, Western style, so Andrew was the name my parents gave me. Pike is my family name, and Ray is a borrowed name from my dad. My dad and I have the same middle name. July 5th. I was supposed to be born at the end of June. That's what the doctor said. And so my mother was expecting me to be born at the end of June, and I didn't come. Actually, I'm sorry, the middle of June. The middle of June. So there she is, overweight, pregnant, hoping that the baby comes, and I was 18 days late. But I landed on my grandfather's birthday, the same day. So he was happy, and my mom was not happy. I'm kind of a country boy because I grew up in a rural countryside area in Michigan, and then in a small town in the state of Maine, way over in the northeast of Boston, Massachusetts area. When I decided that I wanted to teach English overseas, I did a training program in Spain, Madrid, Spain. It was called a CELTA, Certificate in English Language Teaching to Adults. And when I was looking for a job, I started focusing on Korea, Japan, and Taiwan. And Korea had the opening at the right time. They had a job available at the right time for me. I actually have two old connections to Korea because my older sister used to work at an international school in Uijeongbu between 1990 and 1993, a long time ago. And so she was my first normal family connection, but I also have a cousin who was born in Korea. My cousin Keisha was born in Busan, and something happened to her parents. Nobody knows what it was. And so she was adopted by my aunt and uncle when she was 5, and we grew up together as cousins. So my cousin Keisha and my older sister are my original Korean connections. A variety of jobs. I taught in middle school and high school in Indiana, and I worked a variety of jobs through high school and college. And then after the first time I came to Korea, I actually trained to be a social studies teacher, not an English teacher. So social studies is kind of my original love in terms of subjects. That's why I love history. I decided that I wanted to try working in politics. I studied to get another degree, and I went back to the States for 5 years. I actually worked for a state politician in Michigan. And the more I worked in politics, the more I realized that I enjoyed teaching more. And so I finished my time and came back to Korea. The place where I spent the most time before Boyne was in Jinju, the Air Force High School. If you do your basic training in the Army, if you join the Army instead of the Air Force, you'll be on the same base that I was on. The basic training that you'll do is on one part of the base, and the high school is on the other side of the base. And I was there for 3.5 years. That was my first high school teaching in Korea. And my old principal at the Air Force High School in Jinju, he and his wife have a connection to people at Boyne. And so they knew that the old teacher was leaving, the old foreign the former English teacher was leaving. And so they said, hey, send your application, send your resume to, they got an email address for me, send it to them if you're interested in coming back to Korea, and there's a possibility. And that's how it started. So we did, like a question and answer kind of interview stuff through email, and was finally hired that way. I actually met one of our teachers from who teaches here at Boyne. I actually met him in Jinju because he was doing his military service as a teacher at that same high school. And my first year here, my first day here at Boyne, he heard my name on the PA system, the announcement from the vice principal, and he thought, wait a minute, I know that name. And so we were walking across the hallway, and we met each other in the hallway, and he said, "Mr. Pike." I said, "Well, what are you doing here?" He said, "I teach here." So that was a really cool first day experience for me, because I didn't know anybody here until then.
Just coincidence.
Yeah. It was one of those small world things. Really cool. But I didn't know anybody here except for that connection to the school through my old school, and then Mr. Guak, and he didn't know I was coming. That was the nice surprise. And high school is where I feel most comfortable, to be honest. I enjoy the level of intellectual conversations that you can have with high school students. I used to think that Korean high schools in general had, probably the best way to describe it is, better behaved students and more diligent students than America in general, because of my experience. And I've learned since then that Boeing is even unique in Korea. I was talking with one of my coworkers here not long ago, and he said, yeah, the school that I taught at before I came to Boeing, here in Korea, he said, not the same at all. The students didn't care. And I was like, okay, because that's honestly one of my favorite things about Boeing. That's how you have a productive relationship between teachers and students. It starts with the teacher being well prepared for the class, with the lessons, and the students responding to that with their effort to participate in class, do the homework, etc. From my experience, when the students bring their diligence to the class and when the teacher is prepared with the right lesson, it creates a synergy. And it motivates the teacher more because the teacher responds to the effort of the students. And that's one of my favorite things. If I teach in the States, again, I just know for certain that there are going to be days when I'm dealing with classrooms that are, out of control, undisciplined, not diligent, and I'm going to think, oh, I wish I could just transplant a class from Boeing right here. Because honestly, we have students who are sleepy, students who are not good at English and have kind of given up. But in general, the classes are motivated much better than they are in other schools from my experience. So that's one of the things that matters the most to me. I think all of us are in a position where we like to think that we are good friends with everybody. And the truth is that I have so many people here who have helped me in different ways. I've had different groups who have helped me with English camp, some of the homeroom teachers. When I have reached out to them because there was a problem with a particular student, some of them have stepped up and helped to solve the problem really quickly. When I've had, health problems, had to schedule medical exams, and my eye right now, that's a prime example of this. Some of the teachers and some of the administrators just step in, and I couldn't be a foreigner here and successful without the team of people that are around me. If I were to list, we'd be here too long. If I were to list, this is how this teacher has helped me, this is how this teacher, I wouldn't want to take out any of the teachers from my experience here, because different ones have been helpful in different ways.
됐나? 파이크 선생님이 계신 교무실이 이제 저하고 같은 공간에 있고, 또 파이크 선생님이 아직 한국에 오래 계셨지만은 한국말이 아주 이렇게 유창하진 않으시기 때문에 좀 도움이 필요한 부분, 그런 일이 있을 때 파이크 선생님이 제일 먼저 찾아와서 이제 이거 좀 도와줬으면 좋겠다, 그런 일 많이 하고 있어요. 첫인상. 그때는 뭐 거의 한 10여 년 전이니까 그 전에 원어민 선생님들을 몇 번, 한 3-4분 정도 선생님이 경험을 했었거든요. 그분들은 되게 개성이 강했어요. 이제 약간 어떤 느낌이었냐면, 한국에 왔으니까 이제 한국의 문화에 적응을 하고 원어민 교사로 와서 학생들한테 영어를 가르치되 본인의 기본적인 어떤 스타일, 이런 부분들의 변화를 주는 모습들이 조금 많이 보이지는 않았었거든요. 그런데 파이크 선생님은 첫인상이 본인이 한국의 이제 학생들한테 한국의 문화에 적응하려고 굉장히 이렇게 자연스럽게 쓰시는 모습들, 그런 게 좋았고, 그때는 지금보다 훨씬 젊으실 때였으니까 우리가 일반적으로 이렇게 전형적으로 그려볼 수 있는 이제 미국의 참 점잖으신 아저씨, 그런 느낌이었어요. 그리고 생활하다 보니까 역시 그 느낌은 틀리지 않았고요. 일단은 보이는 부분은 일과 시작해가지고 끝날 때까지는 계속, 사실 파이크 선생님 수업이 평가가 있는 과목이 아니에요. 근데 우리 학생들은 평가에 굉장히 민감하고 예민하잖아요. 수업에 있던 집중도나 몰입도가 좀 떨어질 수도 있어요. 그런데 이제 인터뷰를 하는 우리 학생들도 알지만 파이크 선생님 수업 시간에 아이들 참여도가 굉장히 높잖아요. 근데 그렇게 높은 참여도를 유지하기 위해서는 선생님이 뭔가를 굉장히 많이 준비를 해야 되잖아요. 근데 보이는 부분에서 파이크 선생님은 항상 그런 걸 준비하셔요. 본인 시트에 모든 학생들의 특징, 그 다음에 그 학생들이 부족한 부분, 어떻게 하면 좀 수업에 더 참여를 이끌어낼까, 그런 부분에 대해서 항상 이렇게 준비하시고 평가하시고 기록하시는 모습이 이제 주로 보일 때의 모습이고, 이제 안 보일 때, 이제 학생들 집에 가거나 주말에 잘 안 오잖아요, 학교에. 근데 파이크 선생님이 주말에도 학교에 오시는 이유를 알아요, 혹시?
주말에도 오시는지.
네, 주말에 오세요. 네, 주말에도 오시는데, 주말에 오시는 게 뭐 때문에 오시냐면은 3학년 형들이 토요일 날에도 와서 이제 자기주도 학습을 하잖아요. 형들이 공부만 하면 너무 힘들기 때문에 내려와서 간식도 좀 먹고 운동을 해야 된다 그러면 이제 공 같은 것도 좀 대여해주고 그래서 나오시는 거예요. 근데 실제로 본인은 그거를 이제 본인의 카페라고 하는데 3학년 형들은 파이크 선생님이 그렇게 토요일 날 카페를 운영한다는 걸 아니까 와서 간식도 좀 먹고 대화도 좀 나누고 이제 그런 걸 준비하는 시간으로 좀 보내시고, 우리도 특히 축구부 학생들에 대한 애정이 좀 많아요. 그래서 이제 주말에 어떤 대회가 있다거나 해서 학생들이 나가거나 오게 되면은 그 학생들 이제 떠나 보내는 거 또는 이제 돌아왔을 때 환영하는 거, 거기에 필요한 피켓 준비를 한다거나 이제 그런 거를 시간을 보내세요. 그냥 파이크 선생님이 쉬시는 걸 본 적은 거의 없어요. 정말로요. 근데 본인은 힘들지 않다. 근데 그게 너무 즐겁다라고 이야기하시는데 제가 보기엔 좀 휴식이 필요해 보이긴 해요. 모든 면이 다 존경스럽고 배우고 싶은 부분이에요. 근데 그 중에서 가장 배우고 싶은 거는 모든 행동이나 생각하는 게 전부 다 학생들한테 가 있다는 거예요. 학생들의 모든 생일을 챙기는 것이 쉽지 않아요. 좀 반대로 우리 학생들이 파이크 선생님 생일이 며칠인지 우리 파이크 선생님 생일날 어떻게 축하해 줄지 고민을 하기가 쉽지 않잖아요. 사실은 내 사랑하는 가족들 생일도 챙기기가 쉽지 않은데 파이크 선생님은 전교생의 생일을 다 챙기잖아요. 심지어는 형들이 2학년 학생들이 제주도로 수학여행을 갔는데 심지어는 수학여행에서도 생일을 맞은 형들을 위해 선물을 따로 챙겨 오셨어요. 뭐 이런 모습을 늘상 보고 있으니까 딱히 어떤 부분이 존경스럽고 배울만 하다가 아니라 그 모습 그 자체가 존경스럽고 배울만 하죠. 그 빈자리는 굉장히 크겠죠. 저는 안 채워질 거라고 생각을 해요. 그러니까 어느 선생님이 파이크 선생님을 대신하여 우리 학교에 오신다고 하더라도 저는 그 자리는 한동안 안 채워질 거라는 생각이 들어요. 그러니까 상당히 크게 마음 한구석에 구멍이 크게 남아 있을 것 같다. 보이는 모든 선생님들, 학생들한테 그런 느낌이 좀 많이 들고 그런 이야기를 좀 나누긴 했어요. 파이크 선생님하고. 안 갔으면 좋겠는데 왜 가셔야 되는지는 아시잖아요. 이유는 아쉽지만 또 아들로서 역할을 할 수 있게끔 우리가 또 기분 좋게 떠나 보내는 게 필요할 것 같습니다. 지금 얘기하면 되나? Hi Andy, it's me. Usually I'm a very reserved man, so I don't like this kind of interview. But BBC guys told me that it would be for you. So when I heard that, I couldn't turn it down. Last week, you had a surgical operation because of your eye problem, and I know you're recovering from the operation. You want to come back soon, I know, but I think your health must be top priority, so you need to take a rest for a while. I'll remember talking to you today when you leave us. I will cry, and I saw you shivering your shoulders. It was not a joke. I was very serious, and now I'm serious too. I often told you, you made me feel ashamed of myself as a teacher, especially as an English teacher. Am I a good teacher? No. The answer is no. When I saw you, my answer is no. Seeing what you've done for a student, such as celebrating all student birthdays and welcoming soccer players when they came back, and so on. Maybe the list will go on to 100, so I stop here. I think you are the real teacher. You are the authentic teacher. The world needs. On behalf of all school staff, I'd like to express my gratitude. Thank you for your love for students. Thank you for your respect for teachers. Thank you for your devotion for the Boyne High School for such a long time. And remember that if I got a chance to visit your country, I will go and chase you. I will visit you. Until that day, be healthy. I hope you well. I'd like to speak the last words in Korean. 앤디 형, 감사했습니다. 그리고 사랑합니다. 존경합니다. 항상 건강하시고요. 보인고등학교 절대 잊지 않았으면 좋겠습니다. 됐나? 편집 잘해.
Your birthday was like 3 days ago, 4 days ago. Happy birthday, Lee.
The birthdays, honestly, it probably started when I was giving the introduction papers to the students on the first day of class. I'd have an incoming 10th grade class or first grade, and one of the questions was their birthday. And I don't know if I really thought about how I was going to use that information at first, and then I was like, I don't know if anybody else is doing anything for their birthdays at school, and I wasn't going to do a lot. It's just something simple. It's a little snack thing. The funny thing is when I catch up with a student in the morning and I ask him, what's today? And he'll be like, Tuesday? I don't know, what's special about today? I don't know. And I look at him and I say, isn't today your birthday? And he'll be like, oh, yeah. And it's so funny to me that a student can forget his own birthday. But it shows how busy some of you are. Life just gets so stressful, you don't think about the calendar, don't think about your own birthday. Per student, it's not expensive. When you add it all up, yeah, it's a little expensive. But I don't have my own kids, and I don't have here, and I don't have my kids anywhere. I have nieces and nephews back in the States, and I don't spend money for a girlfriend, so I can spend money for my students a little bit. But I try to make the gift different every year. Probably 4 years ago, 5 years ago maybe, I started holding a contest for the semester with all the classes against each other. At first it wasn't what we call the tree hugger contest. The tree hugger contest is making sure everybody brings their book each day, so I don't have to make extra papers. But before that, I think it was mostly participation and average score contest, and the winning class would get sports stuff. And then I realized some of the classes had no sports stuff at all of their own, and I thought, well, I'm not going to buy a soccer ball for each class, but if I have a few that they can borrow, as long as they bring them back. That's been the challenge. Sometimes they disappear or go back to a classroom and I have to track them down again. But yeah, I think that's how that started. When some classes were winning the contest and getting sports stuff, and then I thought, I could lend soccer balls to the other classes. One of the things I've learned as a result of this eye problem, my vitamin D level is a little bit low. That's the only thing that was wrong on my blood test. And the doctor said, you need to get outside and walk in the sunshine more. And it's like, I think my students probably do too. You guys are younger than me, your eyes are better by far, but it's still good to get in that habit when you're young. Break time, run outside. At lunchtime, take your book. You want to study it? Take your book, sit on the soccer bleachers, just soak up the sun while you study. It's a good lifelong habit to get into.
6, 5, 4, 3.
We didn't hold it the first couple of years that I was here. I don't remember what year we started it. I guess it was the next year, 2015, I think we had one. We didn't hold them during the coronavirus time for a couple of years. Before the corona problem, I talk about most of the years we did English camp. Before that, we went to Jeju. And I think the boys enjoyed that more because, traveling with your friends, away from home. The challenge was, because it was a real tour, the only time we could do the English part of it was on the bus. And fortunately, the bus driver didn't have a problem with that. He allowed me to walk up and down the aisles while he was driving. I was worried that he was going to be upset. Hey, sit down and put your seatbelt on. But it wasn't a problem at that time. We started doing it here. I think probably it's less expensive for the parents because there's no traveling involved. And it's efficient in that we actually have time to relax. It's not on a bus ride between tourist sites. We can have our game activities, we can have our English time, we can have more game activities, we can have dinner depending on what time of the day it is. I think that the pace of English camp on campus is more relaxed. But probably the boys would prefer to travel. Yeah, and you'll find that this camp is when you're going to learn all about Michigan. Yeah, we are essentially taking a tour through Michigan to some of my favorite places in our studies. Rudeness from students normally comes from general disrespect, and I would say that that's true in no matter what country you would be in. It's not like, well, students are sleeping, that's disrespectful. No, it's not that, because sleeping is natural. And if you've stayed up all night, or if you couldn't sleep because the neighbors were making too much noise or whatever, sometimes that's not your fault. Sometimes it's because you had a lot of homework, and sometimes it's from your hagwon. I understand when students are sleepy. That's not a problem. It's when you tell a student, do this or don't do this, and they basically ignore you. That's where the rudeness comes in. When it's something that the student really knows that they should be doing. It's like, stay awake, and you no sooner tell them that, and they put their head back down again. Okay, that's becoming disrespectful. The mask thing, I sympathize. I'm looking forward to when we don't have to wear masks anymore. Some students have a bad attitude about the masks. I sympathize the most with the students who have glasses, because your glasses fog up so easily. But when a teacher is saying, listen, these are the rules, we have to follow the rules, and the student reacts negatively, that's when the disrespect appears mostly. Probably the teachers here who have taught in other schools, where behavior was worse, would be able to share some stories. I can't, because the culture of respect for people who are older than you is so widespread here in Korea that honestly the only thing that I can think of in this regard, when you listen to the news and it refers to a person, it'll often just use his family name. They won't say Mr. Donald Trump, they'll just say Trump. And it's natural in the news. Everybody's in the habit of doing that because the person is not there. It's reporting. It's kind of reporting style English. You don't say the full name, just say the family name. I do have students who I think because they've watched the news and read news articles, they get the impression that that's how you address people. And so I have some students who say, hi Pike, and it's, I think, I know he's not being disrespectful, he's not trying to be rude, but that's something we wouldn't do in the States because that's news reporting style with names. In America, you would say, Mr. Pike, or here a lot of students just call me teacher, and that's fine too. Yeah, but that's one thing. I haven't made a big issue out of it. I really haven't. But if a student were to go overseas, they would need to get in the habit of saying, Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so. You always use the title before the name. Yeah. Well, the reason I've stayed so long is because of the school. I really enjoy teaching here. The support that I've got, I mentioned that with the other teachers, teachers and administrators, coworkers. There's just been a lot of support that has helped me be successful. I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have been successful here without that help. The school itself and the helpfulness. I've also, except for this eye problem, I've been remarkably healthy here. Back home in the States, I catch the flu every year. Here, I don't. I think it's the kimchi, possibly. I don't know. So it's been healthy. Teaching here here at Boyne and living nearby has also taught me how to be a city boy. Because I was raised in the country, I enjoy the outdoors. I don't enjoy camping. That's a strange thing about me. I hate camping. But I enjoy living in the countryside. But having lived here in Songpagu for so long, I really enjoy the convenience. I haven't had to have a car. I love to drive. That's a strange thing. I love to drive. But when I go back to the States, it's like, I have to pay for gas, I have to pay for insurance on the car, I have to pay for maintenance. And it's been so convenient to just use that travel card, subway, the buses, the taxi. And so the convenience of living here, the helpfulness of people, it's just, and the school. The job has kept me here. Anybody who has lived overseas and a long way from home for any length of time would probably answer the same thing. You miss your family. If you bring your family with you, then that's different. But all of my family's back in the States. My cousin, who was born here, was an orphan. She came to visit when I was in Jinju. And that was cool to finally be like, okay, now I feel a little bit normal. I have a family member here. And I was able to take her back to her hometown of Busan. I had some friends who helped us find her old orphanage. That was funny though, because she was only 5 years old when she was adopted, and she had forgotten Korean completely. She was a university student when she came back. And we were in a taxi one time. I was sitting in the front with the driver. She was sitting in back. She's completely Korean in appearance. I was speaking in my broken Korean to the driver, and finally I noticed him looking in the mirror at her, looking at me, looking back in the mirror, and I knew what he was thinking. And so I had to explain in Korean, we're cousins. And he said, ah. And then he understood perfectly that she was an orphan. So he was trying to encourage us to try I think it was KBS, had a program of trying to match orphans with their birth parents. And she said it wouldn't work in her case because even the police don't know. They found her on the street. Something had happened to her parents, and nobody knows. So she was just coming back to visit the land of her birth, and that was fun to have somebody from my family with me finally. That's the hard part. You miss birthdays, you miss holidays, you miss the heartaches too. I've had uncles who have passed away while I've been here, and you can't be there with your family for that time, and that's difficult. Leaving, it's the family thing again. One of my uncles passed away last year of COVID. Another uncle passed away years before that, and two of my cousins, they called me and they said, Andy, your parents are getting old too, and they're not going to be alive forever. You have not spent much time with them in recent years. You really need to think about coming home. And I'm not getting younger either. I need to start planning something more stable for my retirement years. And I might just decide to keep working, but I need to invest back in my family. My nieces and nephews, they're growing up so fast. I'm just on a Zoom screen with them in recent years. So I've told people here, though, that if we could move Boyne High School to Michigan, that would be the perfect solution. You're going to hear me say that over and over again before I leave, because honestly, that would be ideal for me. Not for the parents or the other teachers, but it would be ideal for me. Do you remember how you have been comparing Boyne to your middle school? I've learned that whenever you go to a new job, when you have a bad day, you compare it to your old one. And you start wishing that you kept your old job. I know that whatever job I get when I return to the States, whether it's teaching or some other job, I know what's going to happen on the bad days. I'm going to think, this day would have been better if I could have walked into my Boyne classes and had those lessons again. That's going to be one of the difficulties. I have a license to teach in the States, in social studies actually. And the fact that I have experience teaching English is going to be helpful. So I might be teaching, not 100% sure. I need to catch my breath, get home and catch my breath. I haven't been home in 3 years. So getting settled back in at home is going to be the first priority. And then we'll see after that. So yeah, you want me to look at the camera for this one? Okay. Yeah, that's a bigger deal because that sounds like a life lesson thing. And I would say your existence is not an accident. And because your existence is not an accident, you kind of have a responsibility to do something meaningful with your life. And part of living a meaningful life is investing in the relationships that you have with your family and friends. On the universal level and on the personal biological level, we are so amazingly well made. King David of Israel wrote this. He said, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And the more I read philosophy, if you could look at my e-reader, I have a tablet, Amazon Kindle, and you'll see philosophy books there from conservative to liberal, everything. And the older I get, and the more I study stuff, it's like this is an incredibly amazing universe, and I don't believe that it's an accident. And because the universe is not an accident, that means my students are not an accident. And sometimes we feel like there's no purpose in all this. And I would say, study philosophy, study religion, come to an understanding of how amazing life is. And then the second part, because your life is your existence is amazing, make it meaningful. Choose something meaningful to do. Not every job gives the meaning that we want in life, so what about your free time? What about your vacation time? How are you going to use it to make it worthwhile? And as the third part, in living a meaningful life, invest in your friendships. It's easy to think that, oh, my friends are always going to be here, but they're not. You're going to graduate from high school. You're going to go to college. Your college friends are all going to have different schedules. Some of them are going to have part-time jobs. Invest in the people around you with your time and with your effort. Help each other study. That's one of the best ways to build friendships in high school, but your family also, because you're going to move away from home. My sisters and I, true story, we did not have the best relationship when I was in high school, and now it's a whole lot better. And I think part of the reason is we learned to value each other after we lived apart, and we realized, wow, we as a family, we're always going to have each other as long as we're alive, and we should always be able to depend on each other, and we actually do love each other. That's when we started investing in each other. So that's what I would say. Your existence is not an accident. Because it's not an accident, make your life meaningful, and part of making it meaningful is investing in the relationships you have. That would be what I would say. It has nothing to do with English. Because English is not the only thing, not the most important thing in the world. To name it, well, we've been talking so much about me wrapping up my time here. I would say it hurts to leave, because it does. It does. Like I said, the thing that I enjoy most about Korea is this job, my students and my coworkers in this place, and so much of my life has been spent here now. And the thought of leaving, if you could see inside my heart over the next 2 months, you're going to see more and more, I shouldn't call it depression, but more and more sadness as I get closer to leaving, because I know that I'm going to miss this place. So yeah, it hurts to leave.
Same for the students.
I think documentaries by nature are usually focused on one topic or one person, so it has to be. It's always a little awkward to be the center of attention. Not as a teacher. I've noticed that as a teacher, I got used to being in the front of the classroom, and so that became normal. But when you get away from that, it's like you guys, you hang out and talk with your friends at break time all the time. But if you have to do a presentation in front of the same group of people, then you feel nervous. It's strange.
It's a difference.
Yeah.
And that's it for today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It finished a bit.
안녕히 계십시오.
네, 안녕히 가세요.
안녕히 계세요.
Have a good afternoon.
Tuesday. On the train?
그냥 게시판으로요.
Oh, okay. Good.
3 years ago on EasyView, you guys were like big middle school students. And now here you are, and you're like little university students. When your life doesn't go exactly the way you planned, don't be discouraged. You want plan A, you should do your best to succeed at your plan A. But if plan A doesn't work and you get plan B instead, don't be discouraged. Why not? Because sometimes plan B is actually a better plan for you. Some of you remember the story of my grandmother. 22 years old, pregnant with her second baby, and then a work accident. And her left forearm and hand were halfway cut off. And the doctor offered her a terrible choice. Mrs. Pike, I can try to reattach your hand, but that's a complicated surgery. So I would have to give you a strong drug to make you sleep. And that drug would probably kill your baby. Or I can finish amputating your hand. And you don't need a strong drug for that, just a weak drug. And your baby would probably be okay. That was the choice my grandmother had to make that day. Save her hand and lose her baby, or lose her hand and save her baby. With tears in her eyes, my grandmother told the doctor, amputate my hand. I want to save my baby. My father was the 7th child in his family. My grandmother raised 8 children as a one-armed mother, and she lived to be 101 years old. But that second baby, the baby who lived because my grandmother loved him more than she loved her hand, that baby was my Uncle Gail. And he lived an amazing life. He lived a meaningful life. And I cannot imagine our family without him. My grandmother's plan B, losing her left hand in order to save her baby, that was a huge gift to our family and to the thousands of people who were blessed by my uncle's life. So, in your life, work hard to succeed at your plan A. Don't give up easily. Push and push and push to succeed at plan A. But if it doesn't work out and you get plan B instead, don't be discouraged. When I was your age, a long, long time ago, graduating from high school, teaching here at Boyne High School was not my plan A. But now, I am so, so glad that I had this opportunity. All of you became part of my life. And for me, that is encouraging and satisfying and unforgettable. Gentlemen, I'm finished. 3년 동안 따뜻하고 감동적인 추억을 주셔서 감사합니다. 나이 든 미국인 선생으로 잘 챙겨주셔서 감사했습니다. 나는 너희를 모두로 사랑한다.